this, and name the ligaments which are in each joint, and then you identify the vertebrae, typical from atypical, then parts of the vertebrae, okay, and features of each atypical vertebrae and typical separately in the separate pods, okay. So here we have a fixed cervical vertebral column. You can see it from the lateral side, from front, and from the back, okay. You see the first cervical, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, class, okay. So this is your activity, and note that anteriorly there are discs between the cervical vertebrae in all except the first. First is not having disc, okay, because there is no body, okay, right? And then you notice that the anterior arch, posterior arch is there, transverse process is there, superior articulating surface. See the shape of superior articulating surface. Check the skull and identify the occipital condyles there, okay. And see that these occipital condyles, which you see here, okay, these occipital condyles are making a joint with that. So make a joint there by putting the skull over there. So I have done it correctly. So you also make a joint. Move the skull forwards and backwards to understand that this is the nodding movement when you say yes, which occurs in this joint, okay. Similarly, see the second vertebra, identify its dents located behind the arch, identify its body, transverse process, and see that the head moves on this joint. So you move the head sideways when you say no, you move it, and this movement is occurring at these joints known as lateral atlantical axial joints, as well as on the anterior atlantoaxial joints, okay. So you see those features, and note the pillar which is formed by the articular processes on either side. So this is one pillar here, another pillar on this side, which is formed by the articulating surfaces. Note the joints between the vertebral bodies where discs are. These are your intervertebral joints. And on the sides here, similarly on the side here, there are joints formed between the articulating processes, because I go for physial joints, okay. Similarly, note that vertebra prominence is the last cervical, which is this one. Anteriorly, this is your hyoid bone. We are not concerned with that. So on this skeleton, you have to come closer and identify each joint from front to back, identify the type of the joint, name the joint, and identify each vertebra here. Then other activity is you have to see these vertebrae, but we have only one first cervical, okay. In this group it's not there. So you are supposed to come on this side for this particular vertebra. So which vertebra is this one? Atlas, okay. And as we decided, the shape of the vertebra is ring shaped, okay. There is no body here, okay. So this is your first, and you can see the foramen transversarium there, okay. Foramen and transverse area there, and vertebral foramen, which is very big for the spinal cord here, okay. And in this vertebra, the smaller is the anterior arch, and the larger is the posterior arch, okay. And you hold it in correct anatomical position so that the superior surface should be on the top, inferior surface should be at the bottom, anterior arch should be anterior, posterior arch should be posterior, okay. And then how you identify superior from inferior? You just look at the superior articulating surface, which is kidney shaped and concave, very smooth here, okay. While the inferior articulating surface is circular, okay. You can see it's circular, fits with your fingertip, while this fits with your thumb like this. So superior articulating surface is here. So this is superior surface, this is inferior surface. Anterior arch with anterior tubercle, posterior arch with posterior tubercle. So anterior tubercle and posterior tubercle. Okay, both the arches. This is the transverse process. Okay, right? So having done this, that means you complete. Anything can be asked in the exam. Anterior tubercle, superior articulating surface, transverse process, foramen transversarium, posterior arch, superior articulating surface, inferior articulating surface. And there's one articulating surface at the back of the anterior arch where the dents of the second cervical vertebra fixes. And we move our head, and that's how the movement occurs in this joint. This is a pivot type of synovial joint. Pivot, P-I-V-O-T, pivot. Okay, pivot. Have you seen the old age people? They used to put the grains of wheat and make flour by a manual, manual grinder. This is pivot. The central wood nail is the pivot or the central point. So dents acts as a pivot, and this vertebra moves around. There's a posterior cruciate ligament there, okay, and in that small ring, this dents moves. So this is a pivot type of synovial joint. These are synovial joints laterally. Anterior is also synovial, okay, but this anterior one is a pivot type of synovial joint because of rotatory movement, side to side movement. Here there is gliding movement, okay, when you say yes, okay. So this is your first, and we are only having one. So you have to see this first here, all of you only one, so you have to see this one. And here as well, also on that skeleton, there is first vertebra there, like this. Okay, when you have done this, then you can take the second cervical vertebra. This is your second cervical vertebra, and how do you identify? Dents, okay, and superior lateral mass with superior articulating surface, okay, and